I'm going to call this video an urgent Sunday alert. We're going to listen to 3 billionaires, what they stated. Elon Musk is one, but 2 others that deal with the markets, that deal with money, that deals with the economics, and it talks about just where we're at in a nation. Then we're going to listen to 3 different congressmen. One on the right, one on the left, and then one as a populist kind of in the middle. We're going to hear what they say because this is where we're at. And the question is, where do we go from here? I told you before, exposure and understanding the fraud, the waste, the depravity of our nation. By knowing that actually doesn't get us closer to truth. It doesn't get us closer to healing. It gets us further into trusting these people who are depraved, and that actually calls us for civil unrest. It doesn't give us anywhere closer to happiness. Knowing something but not doing anything about it is not helping us. It's actually harming us. Let's dive into these stories because it deals with your money and our nation. And sadly, we're in a bad way. Let's dive in. Hey guys, welcome to our channel. Thank you so very much for being here today. If you are new, please go down here, press subscribe, ring the bell, give us a thumbs up or a thumbs down, that's okay, but let us know what you think about the content of today's video. And the reason I want to call this video Urgent Sunday Alert, I want to mention the financial part, and then I want to mention the depravity part, the part that we've been talking about with the files and list. The financial part is we are seeing the exposure of fraud and yet doing nothing about it. Congress is still spending, we're still getting ripped off, and taxation without representation causes civil unrest. Then on the second part, we see the depravity of men. And yes, we know we are fallen men, we know we're sinners, we're not perfect, but now we're seeing all this exposure, not just maybe antics, not party behavior, but true depravity, where we think of Baal and Baphomet, all this biblical, satanic, demonic things with people that are younger, families. So we're seeing these 2 ugly heads of the same snake. They're both proving that we have fallen away from truth in America. And when we actually get exposure of the truth, we see it because we're not willing to do anything about it. Guess what? That makes us an accomplice. That makes us accomplice of the depravity, an accomplice of the fraud, because we're willing to stay in this problem because no one's doing anything about it. That is going to cause civil unrest, civil chaos, civil war, or the fall of our nation. Simple as that. Let's go over these stories. I want to read the 3 billionaires first, and then let's go to the 3 congressmen, because this is where we're at. I'm going to end with the Democratic congressman because what he says should scare you. I want you to listen to what these 3 billionaires said. This is a billionaire, Tim Draper. Now, I want to bring this up because he's pushing for Bitcoin. I don't believe in Bitcoin. I'm just trying to tell you we're setting up for a fall of our dollar. Listen to this. It says trillions are about to flow into Bitcoin, and the US dollar will no longer be accepted. It will die. Bitcoin will go to $10 million. Sadly, this guy has been in the business for a long time of prediction of money, and he knows what's coming. Now, why is this a big deal? Because the destruction of the dollar is the destruction of your freedom. The manipulation of currency is happening with crypto because what it does is it puts us in a central digitized dollar. The Republicans did not pass that as a ban in this last bill because they knew what was coming too. If the dollar falls, they're going to say, well, we were not really for CBDC, but this Bitcoin and this stablecoin thing is the best way forward. Let's go for it. There you go. That's what was in the bill. Second billionaire. This is from Michael Burry. Now, Michael Burry was part of the Big Short, and people say, well, there's some things he's done right, some things he's done wrong. I want you to listen to what he stated. He just pulled out of the market before all this started influxing just a few weeks ago. Michael Burry had just dropped one of the most chilling warnings to America. The moment your interest payments exceed tax revenue, your country is officially a Ponzi scheme. He says when debt services itself, when interest outperforms and outpaces income, the system starts eating itself. This isn't theory, it's absolute math, and the clock is ticking for America. So now we have one billionaire stating that we are going to see the change of a dollar because the destruction of the dollar is upon us. Remember, debts, dollars, all of it goes to the system that we have built, and now we're going to see a crisis to get us out of that system. Michael Burry is calling for the crisis. He's saying, look, when we have to pay when we have to pay more interest than we're actually making in dollars, when we can't actually have enough money after overtaxing people and we still have to print more money, when we see that there are so many downfalls when it comes to the pensions and the problems and the fact that the government is inflating the stock market to make it, the clock is ticking. Now, let's go to the third billionaire because it leads right into the congressman. Third billionaire is Elon Musk. So we talked to money. Listen to what Elon Musk just stated. He said, "This is why unrest takes place, and this is why we'll never heal our nation." He said they put, 500-600 people for J6 into prison, and yet not one person has been prosecuted for the list. Not one person has been prosecuted for fraud. He says, it's mind-blowing to me that we've noticed that not one person has been prosecuted for all the things that we wanted to open the door to and see the dangers of, and yet we prosecute people on Main Street who held a flag up. He said that's the show that the nation is struggling. Now, if you remember, he actually said the reason Doge will never make it because he said you can't change the minds of these selfish narcissists in Congress. These people are not changing the swamp. Now let's go to the congressman. First, I want to go to Thomas Massie. Now, Thomas Massie, I love his principles. I love his core beliefs. I love the fact that he doesn't bend. I actually do. Now, I do believe that he doesn't like Trump, so therefore he chooses to vote against him in some things. So, there's a confrontation there. But this goes along with what Elon Musk just stated. Thomas Massie, this was reported. Now, this is just alleged. It says, last night I received a flash drive containing the complete list of files belonging to who they're dealing with right now with Epstein. It has everything in it. Every billionaire, every campaign donor, every single person. Now, let me tell you why you haven't heard this from the media. Because they're all in on it. They will do everything to prevent these documents from being made public. Epstein was far more than just a predator. He was an asset for the intelligence agencies. That's the kicker. That's what I keep trying to tell you. It's not the fact of what he did, the dangers of it, and the depravity of it. It's the fact that we all knew about it. Not we, but our countries. And that is what's dangerous. He was part of a blackmail operation used to control billionaires, politicians, and world leaders. If this list ever sees the light of day, listen to this now. If this list ever sees the light of day, it will cause for a system collapse. The public has a right to the truth, but I'm afraid if we share this information, it will destroy us. I want you to listen to what I just said. That's what I'm talking about with this list. I believe what you're going to realize in this is people's depravity is not just about money. It's not just about the predator. It's the fact that it's power. And what we see here is that, no matter who you put in the blank of Jeffrey, it has nothing to do with him. It has everything to do with who is controlling him to then control the people. It doesn't matter if people are coming to him for power, for money, for prestige, for depravity. What he'd get out of it was blackmail. And it wasn't the fact that he knew about it. It's the fact that everyone knew about it and everyone condoned it, especially governments. And if we really truly open the door to see how depraved our nation is and its leaders, from either knowing it, either contributing to it, or being part of it, it would collapse our nation. It would collapse our stock market. I want you to listen to what Tim Burchett said, and I fully agree with what he just said in this comment. Another, just kind of a strong Republican conservative who he's old and again, I don't know how much he's done in Congress, but I actually like the guy. I want you to listen to what he said. He said, I call for public hangings of anyone who is criminal tied to the predator list at the same time this list comes out with hurting of families and minors. Basically, he states that I believe that we should take them and do public hangings again. Because he said it would either stop it or cause a healing to our nation. I actually believe in this. But I want to stop just for a second. Because we know the dangers of what we've seen, the financial problems, the one-sided justice where it seems like everybody on the Republican and conservative side get hit, and then the depravity of man. What happens after that? You typically see, because nothing took place, people take it in their own hands, and you start seeing civil unrest, civil upheaval. And you almost get things like dystopian movies like Hunger Games, where they call for public executions. You start seeing things like the Purge, where they're like, well, one night a year we're gonna cause havoc and chaos. That's what the protests are doing. They're destroying everything, causing harm to everybody, and yet nothing's getting done. The fact that we're living in this time and we're calling for exposure that could collapse everything, the fact that we're calling for public hangings, which I believe in, because I believe that if someone is doing harm and is convicted and they're knowingly doing this and no one's busted for it, they should lose their life just like that. The fact that our financial problems are happening and we see the debts, we see the problems, and there's still congressmen and politicians that are overtaxing us while they're becoming filthy rich. That's depravity. And that's fraud. But we're living in it. Now, I want you to listen to this last comment from this Democratic congressman, because this is where it all comes to a head. I want to pause the video just for a second, and because I want to bring attention to one thing. Jay Staley, I'm not getting paid to say this, but Jay Staley, Jace Medical, Jace RX. Jace is one of my biggest affiliates and has been for the longest. I try to tell you to prepare. So I tell you to get the antibiotics for safety, just in case something goes down in our nation, like it's been going on. So things like the penicillins, the amoxicillins, the EpiPens, the ivermectin, all that stuff is good. And they sell a case just for that. So check with Jace Medical on things like that, because when times get tough, there may not be a place to go and run to the doctor or to the pharmacy. What's even scarier is what we're dealing with someone who has to have medicine for life. Jace Daily and Jace RX, two new programs. Jace Daily has been around for a little bit. Jace RX is new. Like my child who has type 1, like other people that have chronic illnesses, you're on medicine every day of your life. We don't want to be, but guess what? That's the hand we're dealt. So that's where Jace Daily comes in. Now, I know buying prescriptions and things like that can get expensive, but it's the risk of your life. During this ice storm, during hurricanes, during tornadoes, during civil unrest, you better have the medicine you need. If you're not able to get it from your doctor, you better check with Jace Daily, check with this new program Jace RX that's coming up, check with Jace Medical, so you can get the things not only for preparedness and for emergency medicines, but for the ones that have chronic illnesses. Check with Jace, there's a link below. I just wanted to do this because they were a monster asset for me in my prepper's journey, but also in the journey with my child. Thanks, Jace, for helping me, and I hope that you can help so many more. And guys, if you want to check with them today. They'll walk you through not only emergency preparedness medicine, but also Jace Daily. If you have a chronic illness, they can help you. Check with Jace today. Representative Gene Wu goes full mask off. Non-whites, meaning the majority of people in America that are non-white, is what he's saying now. He says, share the same oppressor. We are now the majority, and we can take over this country. That was a representative who is of China's descent saying, non-whites make up the country more. It's time for us to take over America. See, what we're seeing is the fall of an empire. Did you see the layoff numbers? Did you see the fact that the jobless numbers that just came out? It's probably going to correct the market tomorrow. It's probably going to cause a major market collapse. Not as in go down forever. I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about you're going to see a correction in the market tomorrow because the jobs numbers are terrible. We're seeing recession-style numbers. So just like Michael Burry said, he said, I'm not a left or right. I'm not telling you that it's about theory. He said it's about math. We can't keep going in this nation the way we're going. The billionaire about Bitcoin. We can't keep having a US dollar that, just like Michael Burry said, that math is not mathing anymore. It's over. So we've got to move to this new system. That new system is what maybe J.B. Vance was talking about the other day with a new world. A great reset. The things that we've pushed so hard against, I believe we're seeing them right before our very eyes. Because the exposure and knowledge of what's going on, and yet nothing gets done, no one gets arrested, makes it even more dangerous. Because now we're accomplices to where then people are going to take justice in their own hands, and we're going to see civil unrest, civil upheaval, and maybe even civil war. I want you to listen to what Andy Frisella said. He's a podcaster. I don't listen to him much, but there's these one-liners he has that are really good. And I do think that he nailed it right here. Podcaster Andy Frisella warns the men across America they need to wake up immediately because the nation is being ruled by psychopaths, by predators and by people who don't care for you. This civilization will collapse because we are rejecting truth. Frisella urges men to unite and stand together against these crimes and criminals with a more urgent need more than ever, because now we're exposed to what's going on. We have been prepared, and if we're being prepared, the time is now. I think this is why, no matter if you like Trump or not, I think this is why I don't think he wanted to expose this. I think that's why Elon Musk pulled back from Doge. Because I believe once they realize it, is once we let the cat out of the bag, we can't get the cat back in the bag. You know, we have a farm. And I can move cow, I can get them out of the fence, I can move sheep, I can get them out of the fence and get them back in. But a pig, if a pig gets out, it's kind of hard to herd those pig back up. It's kind of hard to get them back where they're supposed to go. So you have to train them in extreme amounts to control them. If I let that new pig out of the pig forest and they run, man, it's going to be like chaos trying to get it back in. Because it knows no better, and it's going to run, it's going to tear up everything, it's going to expose everything, and it's going to cause a major problem on my farm. All the animals are going to go crazy, everything's going to go wrong because I can't get that back in. Now, it's just a pig, but it kind of speaks to foreshadowing of what we're dealing with here. We let this exposure out. Two things are going to happen. You may have public hangings, you may have true arrests, but I don't think they can arrest all the players in it because they would arrest literally 50 to 60% of the government and the biggest players. I mean, you've got Steve Bannon, you've got Howard Lutnick, you've got RFK, you've got all this exposure of all these people in the administration. Then on the other hand, you've got all these big financiers, the Hoffmans of the world and the J. Cows of the world, and all these big billionaires that are tied to it too, Bill Gates. And if you start actually arresting, which I believe we should, you're going to cause for chaos and instability. If you don't do it, guess what you're going to do? You're going to cause for chaos and instability. So now it's almost danged if you do, danged if you don't. Bad scenario on both sides. And then you have a congressman warning that, shoot, white men they ain't got nothing on us anymore. We're the ones that can take over. It's time for us to take America over. We are seeing a very dangerous time in America. If I cannot, I say this all the time, but I'm being serious. It's not getting better. We're exposing things, so we're getting it out in the open, but if we don't do anything about it, then it's going to cause for more chaos in our nation. If you don't deal with the problem, if it be the Tim Burchett way or if it be the whatever way it is, if we don't deal with the problem, then it's going to eat us away like cancer. And that's exactly what's happening. I think this plays right in the hands of global elites who don't like America. Because what it's doing is they're seeing that it's almost like a cancer eating America away. It's so disheartening to me. Not because of the depravity, not because of the fraud. Both of those things are terrible. And those are the problem. But the bigger problem is the fact that we're raising our families in this, and no one's willing to stand up against it. I can talk to them blue in the face. 40 other people can talk to them blue in the face. But ultimately, our government's so big that I don't even know if there's enough conservative Christian men in our nation to do something without supernatural power for God. I always go back to the story of Gideon in the Bible. He had a big army. God said, you don't need that many. He had a smaller army. God said, you don't need that many. And then ultimately, it was just a few hundred men that faced thousands. What was the power of Gideon? It wasn't Gideon. It was God. If we don't turn our nation back to Christ, and we don't have men who are willing to humble themselves and follow God, I believe we're going to see our nation fall. And we're not ready for it. And that's going to cause for major chaos, like a dystopian movie that you've once seen that you said, gosh, I'm glad we don't live there. We're going to end up living there if we're not careful. Guys, prepare. Get ready, because it's coming. Give me your thoughts on today's video.